Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here with another fascinating lecture on radionics, or otherwise known as subtle energy technologies, which is certainly a term that's been around for a long time, but it's really been misunderstood and lumped together with a whole bunch of nonsense. And this is one of the problems as well for the misunderstanding that prana, mana, chi, Wilhelm Reich, orgone is all just one giant lumped together stew of energy, and it's all the same. Well, it isn't all the same. It is a similar type energy, but the differences are vast and subtle. And if you're going to actually make technology and use this energy, you have to be very well informed of how it works, especially if you're going to be a person like myself doing research and designing technologies to harness the energy. Well, what is it? How do you harness it? Well, you don't harness a liquid in a container made from what would be screening, which has all these little holes in it. Pour water in a screen, what happens? It goes through. So this is the kind of stupidity we have going on in this industry, which has basically been run by, particularly in the last 20, it goes back to about 30 years now, 30, 40 years. Very misinformed people that don't know what they're doing. A few of these people have done some good work and other things, but, they've fallen behind. They're copycats. I work with Hieronymus. Oh, yeah, I cleaned his toilet and he told me the secrets of the world. Well, Hieronymus certainly had his ideas, and I do appreciate him and his thoughts, but he was also wrong in many areas. And you're supposed to be wrong. What are you supposed to know 60 years ago to what we know today? Especially if you're a person who's evolved, who looks at all the different technologies. What did they have 30, 40, 50? It's amazing how things have changed in the last 20 years alone. Purple blue lasers used to be $8,000 10 years ago. Now you can get them for 5 or 6, and high quality ones at that. So all of this is part of the bigger pie of understanding things. The other things is nobody's really looked at any of the units. I have units from just about every manufacturer out there, all the little dudes that make cheapy garbage, and all the other people who've made sophisticated, very attractive looking units like Bruce Copen. But when you open up the surprise package, you really get the jack-in-the-box that hits you in the face. Don't stand over it, because you're going to get hit in the face with what's happening there. And what do they know about subtle energies? Well, I can tell you right now, virtually nothing. And what's the problem is that we get stuck in this electric reality, thinking that electricity is somehow magical, is somehow special. When electricity really isn't. It's kind of a phenomenon, but there's really nothing overly special about it, and it doesn't do miracle things, unless you want to consider it. I do consider it kind of miracleistic when my toaster works, when my water cooker works, when my refrigerator works. Well, I really appreciate that. These are luxuries we should not overlook, and my two favorite luxuries are washing machines and dishwashers. Go try and clean your own laundry. I tried this a year or two ago when I had a washing machine problem. Living in the outback where there's no machines, you bang on rocks like good Deutschies. So the whole idea is that this is a real problem that you run into internationally with ignorance. But the whole idea is these are labor savers. That is what machines are all about. They're not smart machines. They're not advanced intelligence. They do a job, and they have been upgraded over the years to do a pretty damn good job, and much better than you can do without spending a lot of time at it. You certainly can wash your clothes in a stream banging rocks on it. You certainly can wash your dishes in a sink, and it isn't as good because it's not the kind of controlled environment that a washing machine and dishwasher give you. And also there's a purity factor. And like everything else, these are the idiot jobs that you can have a machine do because it don't take no thinking. So when it takes a thinking, it should be a human who has learned and mastered his trade, whatever it is. So That's what technology is good for, and we need to understand that, and that's what machines are all about and the way they should work. Ultimately, these machines, even though they are very good, very mostly well made, I don't know if I can say that entirely, but the concept is generally good, and they do work most of the time, and they are fantastic. But they're also made by humans, and there are all sorts of little flaws and design problems, etc., that you run into. After all, we have dumbademia taught idiot engineers how to make stuff. But you can only be so bad as an engineer, because if it doesn't work, people won't buy it and you'll be out of a job. So they'll figure out how to use a bigger hammer on it. Don't work right, Engineer Bill. Oh, yeah, we noticed that. Oh, here's a bigger hammer. Hit it harder. So thank you, Engineer Joe. So this is the kind. Now we're stuck into this reality of electricity. And as I said, electricity, like so many things like prescription drugs, have their place. And they are essential. But we're not talking about regular caveman idiot technology. And of course, who makes all these radionic machines? Bunch of caveman idiots. So they're not evolved. They haven't studied anything. They haven't went to a subtle energy school. They haven't investigated what other people do or get their courses or figure out or even read a book past, this idiot's book. So the whole idea, if they've read it all, if they can't buy their boxes at Michael Craft Store, they're lost. So the whole idea is that these are the kind of things that we run into out there. So the people making stuff, and it's just not the idiots in this industry, it's everything, are part of this garbage populace. And this is why some people get impressed by people that kind of have diarrhea mouth and have no qualifications, but are kind of grandstanders. Steve Jobs, or Jobs? Steve Jobs, and of course, Elon Blofeld Musk. And these people are nothing but hot air bags that have done absolutely nothing, but they huff and puff and they fire everybody around them that stands up to them, and they use some talented people and give them a nickel, and then they take credit for it. After all, Steve Jobs invented a chip that has a memory on it, so he claims. Because that was better than a CD, which was a plastic chip with a memory in it. He's a genius. So the whole idea is we get involved in all of these processes, and it's really sad that the populace has to grab onto them, just like people grab onto independent candidates, generally movie stars, because after all, he's been in my house. I was in my shorts watching a TV show. He's like my buddy. So the whole idea is that we run into those things out there, and we're trying to find somebody who has credibility. And you don't ever do it. And I'm not sure people with credibility want to be public, want to be popular. So what we do is we vote in people who are politicians. Ronnie Reagan, where am I? Mommy, where's my astrology chart? So this is, of course, what doofus, dim-headed Ronnie Reagan, he's such a nice guy. So the whole idea is that they went after him because he had that personality. He's the kind of a likable guy. Does that mean he knows anything? Well, he knew how to bankrupt California first, rape that state, and turn it from a nice place into a sewer in the 60s. Then he did it with the country, where he virtually killed the economy for 4 years there and tanked it. Like he stuck giant holes in a barrel in the middle of the ocean. And, of course, how did he remedy that? Well, we got to fight the Ruskies. People from outer space, we got to have that. So he tripled the national budget that we're still paying for today. The good Republican that he was. So, and of course, then we get another similar task that was done by an alternative. I'm in California. Yeah, I'm just a screwing, drug-taking little freak, and I'm going to help the state of California. After all, I could pump the iron. And of course, he bankrupted the state. He was nothing but a lackey for George Bush, and basically was on a leash. Even literally, I understand, in some of his personal life. And of course, after he married Skeletor, and that didn't work out, he made sure he humped anything, particularly the workers in his house. They can't quit. So the whole idea is this is the kind of filth you get. This is what happens with people. What are you going to draw from? Well, nobody wants to vote for anybody who's decent. We've had a few candidates that were decent, and they don't get no votes. So probably we're honest as well. And that's going to really be the coup de grace that you'll never get anywhere. Honesty is frowned upon by an evil society. So what we have is all this. So who are we going to go to? And who are we going to support? And so forth. So when we get into this and the understanding, what have people done? Well, there hasn't been a breakthrough in radionics in over 100 years other than what I produce. And of course, 35 years ago, I was using lasers and producing very advanced machines, using special wiring, using beautiful hardwood cabinets and all the things with those superior designs, which were all engineered by me. And of course, these were, of course, back then, that was the best technology you could do, and there was really nothing else out there. Nothing really has come after that. We still have people mimicking Hieronymus. That's what the Kelly organization is doing. They're making Hieronymus machines. Well, that's not, Hieronymus has been dead for 40 years, and his technology is 80, 90 years old. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's just that, what have you done to improve upon it? Zero. So the whole idea is nothing has come out of it. The only organization that has done anything has been Radionic Tech and the many different organizations that has come from. If we go through the different breakthroughs, if you can call it that, we have the pseudo computer, the SE5, really, which is a pile of crap. It's just an antenna. Which he got a sharp number computer and put it on there, so the numbers in the computer go to the scalar antenna. So, this is about as moronic you can get, and certainly very low tech, and certainly not worth $5,000, $6,000 for that piece of garbage. So the whole idea is it's worthless. It's just as that. It's nothing more than a psychic concentrator like anything else, and basically a very difficult, slow to use. I saw him recently in some, of course he's in India all the time, talking. It takes like 40 minutes to analyze. 40 minutes to analyze? Well, maybe you should get more than that little sharp computer you got in there, that calculator. So the whole idea is those kind of things, putting numbers. This is a bogus way of putting in rates, etc. But it's just a con game, and someone being at that for 30, 40 years, of course, has done that. Then the con of all cons is calling something orgone that isn't, from the Satanist Karl Hans Weltz, who died young as well as his family, perpetrating evil on the public and building very mediocre machines. They were okay made, but if you look at them, particularly, I believe, the later models, is that all he's got is stickers as registration marks. So he uses the cheapest dials he can, the cheapest components inside, and then puts a registration sticker on there instead of having a knob that has numbers on it or a printed out proper panel. So this is the kind of cheapo crap and crappy little plastic, actually boxes, which you, again, are the cheapest garbage you can get out there. All of this is a perpetrated fraud upon the public by a person who is hiding his deep satanic backgrounds, Satanists who are involved in all of the most perverse acts you can think of. And it was even stated on his website for his satanic order of all the horrible things they did. And of course, his biggest trainee and promoter, or mentor, he mentored E.A. Konedding, the biggest scumbucket Satanist on the planet. So this is the history you have. So let's move into all that stuff of what's out there. And nothing has come out. There's been a bunch of copies, a bunch of little crap. Everything I've done has been copied throughout all the organizations, no matter whom they are. So all these things were pretty much the reality of what's out there. So there's been no breakthroughs. There's no really guts of any to speak of improvements inside of machines. They're not using any different type of wiring, pots, or anything else. It's really just a bunch of made up, put some crap together and we'll pour toxic resin on it, and we call this orgonite. And we call this poison, which is what these resins basically are made of. So we have to understand all that and really what their motive behind it and really whom they're working for. But this is what's happened. There's no breakthroughs whatsoever. Nobody out there is doing anything except kind of really foolish stuff and things that have nothing to do with radionics, period, which is a unique field unto itself. It is not electromagnetic. These are not putting frequencies out, Hertzian frequencies. They're putting out high-level frequencies that you tune into. This comes from the higher self, from basically what we can call as the higher consciousness, the higher cosmic, which kind of draws these very high pure energies in, which certainly isn't what orgone is, which is a very dirty energy, even in its best form. So what we have is, what are we getting into? So none of these energies, no matter what you're doing, are electromagnetic in nature, and we need to move away from that, thinking that electricity is somehow important. And most people have thought this, and I've thought the same thing. I mean, you pick up a non-electric unit and say, what is it doing? Well, it's doing a hell of a lot if it's made right, which only radionic tech units are made right. The other ones are just wires and pots, potentiometers. Well, that only causes a psychic tuner to be created and a very mild energetic flow. You need to go way past that. But what is really strong? What built the pyramids? What has constructed great things out there? And those have been simple, basic tools that were non-electric in nature. So the whole idea is that electricity is bogus. Is it great? Is it great to have an electric saw, a chainsaw for cutting trees and stuff? Well, it certainly is. But that doesn't make it high-techy. It doesn't make it miraculous. You've taken electrical technology and motors and you turn certain things, so you produce things like a blade turning. So this is great. Is it high-techy? I don't think so. Well, you're right, dumb guy, for once. So the whole idea is that all that is part and parcel of how things. So it's not high-tech. And I'm not putting down the tools and even the engineering that goes into that, even though it's still 60 years or after, or 60, 80 years since the first toaster, and they still haven't gotten the design too well. That things fall through into there, and people have to pry things out with a knife and electrocute themselves. So, I mean, there's a lot of engineering errors, but basically these things do work, and they are great assists. But they ain't magic or miracles. And most of technology is pretty bad, and they never really got it right in the first place, which is why we keep having multiple different designs. And for certain products, that shouldn't be the case. And there's still horribly engineered products that break, that have problems at short periods of time, and they're still using toxic materials, lots of plastics and other things even that are used with food. So, but let's get past all that of the general understanding. It's not miraculous. Your cell phone is not miraculous. The fact that you can go onto the internet-y with a cell phone is not much of a big deal. Now, as long as there's an internet, then the fact is, why couldn't you access it wireless, which is what's happening now? And all a phone is a phone that is basically portable with a battery on it. Does the same thing your phone did at home that was connected to your wall. Now it's wireless. For good or worse, because it's putting out some pretty toxic energies, and you should never put your phone up to your ear. You should always speak at it with the speaker on. So the whole idea is that, why? Because it's deadly.
Thank you, engineers. I had thoughts that were good. Now I have a giant tumor from my phone. I couldn't have got that any other place. Thank you, engineers.
So the whole idea is that that's exactly what's going out there, and where we have to be very aware of it's not miraculous. It's not technology. And there's no miracle of electricity in terms of doing anything past the stupid.
Toaster, oven, dishwasher.
Well, it's great. It's great, but it's not miraculous, it's not high-techy, and it's not really doing anything in your life. And electricity in itself doesn't do anything. Electricity runs motors, turns gears, and other things. It's not doing something directly. Your toast is not made because a frequency zapped the toast, an electrical frequency, a Hertzian frequency, zapped the toast and made it look nicey and crispy.
Oh, I like my toast that's been zapped by Hertzian energies.
Well, no. The electricity went into the machine that then powered heating coils, which you then adjust. It's not coming from the electricity directly. It's what the electricity is empowering inside. So we need to understand that as well. So if you expect to run electricity through something and it does something miraculous on a higher level, it doesn't. So don't get caught up in that nonsense. As I said, it's very easy. And I remember working with people when I had non-electric units, is the fact that, I would never buy a non-electric unit because nothing's going on. Well, what is going on with the electric units?
Well, they're putting energies in there.
Really? Well, maybe you should look at the Copeland models, these well-built, beautiful units that Bruce Copeland made before he died. Fairly young, by the way. It powers the light. You turn the machine on and the light comes on. I followed the electricity. It doesn't go through the unit any place. And that's all radionic units. And I have 30 or 40 of them from different manufacturers from the 1920s up to modern times. So, on the other hand, be very careful that you're just not getting a potentiometer with a wire hooked up to a plate. That's not a real radionic machine. That's a dumbass machine. So there is...
but it's not electric, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's good either. Everything has to be constructed properly. When you make subtle energy units that are non-electric, you have to do a multitude of things, which is proprietary information and none of your business. The bottom line is that you have to have multi-energies within that unit, not just wire flow patterns. I've made those units many, many years ago. And they worked at a primitive level, but they were never kick-ass, as no units that are built just primitively like that are. Nor is putting numbers through a scaling antenna anything of great breakthroughs either, especially for ridiculous amounts of money. That is basically nothing. It's a ripoff. So the whole idea is that all those things that go with that, you have to understand there's an entire science and process to doing that. So just buying somebody's unit because it's cheap or because you like their ad, well, what's the guts of it? They've got plates and stuff. They put orgone in it. They just toxified it all. They have nothing inside. And most people make electric because they know people want to see that red light come on.
It's working, Doctor. Look at it. The red light came on.
This was a famous thing that I investigated with Bruce Copeland over 35 years ago. Got one of his base units. No electricity goes through any of the wires. It goes to the light bulb. He used surplus plates inside his units to make it look like there was some electricity there. So he'd use a surplus plate that he got for pennies, and then he would put it inside the unit, and then he would electrify it so that the light came on. Looky at lights is doing. So the whole idea is that this is the reality that we have to understand. But there is a great technology and a great science to this. And as my courses come out, and hopefully relatively soon, you will see the difference. And you can understand subtle energy physics. It is critical that you understand it and that you know what it's about. So don't be fooled by that. And most people sell their radionic machines or give it up because they don't work. Well, they don't work because you're not trained properly and you're working with a piece of garbage. And you can spend $6,000 or you can spend $6. It doesn't work because they are crap machines. The only benefits you get are those people who generally have strong psychic abilities to be on it, people who can focus and do it. I've never failed when I worked with in the past when we were more magically oriented. The people who were good at magic, they worked the machines fine. They had no problems. They got great success with it. So it's as simple as that. And people who were not good magicians, well, they failed at the machines. So this is a concentration and energy projection, and these are nothing more than psychic crutches and tuning. But that's not what they're supposed to be. Not any longer. Abrams started that, putting junk in machines and finding out that the basic placebo effect and the psychic projection of the operator, which was generally a doctor, was able to get results. And there was nothing in the machines. So I'd love to talk to him today and, find out what that is all about. But that's what he figured out. Because he found out his electronics really did nothing. And when he produced machines that were placebo-based, he got better results than with putting together his frequency machines or whatever they really were. We really can't tell. And there's a wide variety of stuff. I have Abrams machines, and they're not in any way producing any kind of energy. So all of this is quite shocking, amazing, and interesting that is out there, and we need to get past that. And who has the knowledge? Who knows what they're doing? Well, sadly, it's only radionic tech. Nobody else has come up with anything. The big answers is some pseudo garbage with a sharp calculator on the front of it, or the fact of is some computerized piece of garbage that doesn't connect you in any way to the program whatsoever, except staring at something on a screen, which is not a direct connection. But again, you're using psychic energy, you're using the placebo effect, you're concentrating and projecting energy, but all the computer programs are worthless. They do nothing. I see this all the time. Well, where is some sort of, you plug into the computer so you can send energy in there and it can pick it up.
Oh, not read your face from Mars. Yeah, you didn't know that, did you, Dr. Thor? It's got a secret face reading and they can sense what you're doing that way. Yeah, it's all from Mars tech.
So the whole idea is these are the kind of things you run into that make no sense. So don't get caught up in the fact, well, it's hard to say that because all these non-electric machines that are out there, which are almost all of them, because you flip the switch and as I said, there's no electricity going through the dials for none of them. So none of them do that. So the whole idea is that nonsense that actually goes with that is not working. And that's why these things are. Now, if you are getting results, well, you're that talented magician who is getting success using regular magical techniques, candle magic, spirit evocation. Well, all those people who did that and got success, which were many, were the same ones that excelled on radionic machines. It's as simple as that. So all these things we need to look at in the bigger picture and understand what's going on. So that's why I didn't produce these kind of machines. All you need is a good symbolic box that is amplified and transmitted. Or you need a good energy cell that has your cosmic code on it where you send energies to it. This will amplify your thought forms and bring in the proper energies. Dialing in stuff is not needed whatsoever. If you have a particular sigil code, otherwise known as a rate, well, you can concentrate on that. Put that into your symbolic box. Put that into your radionic energy cell. Project it to yourself. And you'll see that gives another way of amplifying energies. But again, these are not as strong until you get a regular modified tube amplifier and a modified transmitter. Brings up the power of these basic non-electric units dramatically. Because the actual energy that is being amplified through a special type of amplifier and transmitter, because we've converted the internal guts of those tools to pick up these energies, does give you a dramatic impact that can send that energy 24/7. But it is not Hertzian or electrical in nature. Using as piggybacks, it's being used to take this energy in a very particular fashion using our special tachyon, neutrino, graviton energy cells. All of this is what we're doing right now to grab subtle energies, amplify them, etc. So it's not an empty. Just because there's not electricity going through it, and I just told you, what does electricity do? Well, electricity in a toaster powers the heating coils. It is not zapping the bread. So the whole idea is that the electricity is not needed for higher practices. As a matter of fact, it's negative. Electricity in Hertzian electromagnetic fields is basically moron energies, and it's easy to discover, easy to harness, and easy to measure. But so many things that are easy and that are used out there doesn't mean that it's effective. It's complete nonsense. So the whole idea is when you get into manifesting energy fields and you talk about manifesting in general, there isn't a Hertzian frequency for that. There is a higher level consciousness energy for it that you need to access. This is not electric in nature. Actually, it's anti-electric. If you use Hertzian fields to try and find these more, quote, metaphysical or subtle energy fields, it doesn't work. Now, if we're talking about rife fields, we're putting in a specific Hertzian field into the human body, which basically you're doing something very physical, something very measurable, something that that you can put on a meter. This is supposed to have some sort of effects, but I haven't seen much personally there, but I'm certainly not against it. But it's apples and oranges. And basically, it's very physical. So you take a Hertzian energy, no matter whether it's 2 hertz or 200,000 hertz that is there, and you pump this into the physical body, and you're going to get some sort of results from it, good or bad. We just don't know. There appears to be something to this, and I'm certainly in favor of it, and there does seem to be enough literature from people like Bob Beck and others that have proven this technology to work and work well. So we just don't know. But we don't know because none of these rife-type machines seem to be getting any kind of great results. Who does Clarks, zappers, and so forth? they tend not to work at all. I've used these for many years with no results whatsoever. So do they work for you? I don't know. You need to try it and be careful. These magnetic pulses and other things, there seems to be some validity to them. But we just don't know because of the oppressive environment that we live in today that doesn't allow people to do serious research on alternative healing tools. So that's considered practicing medicine without a license, and you get into trouble. So, but there should be a freedom that people are able to research this stuff as they do today with poisons and everything else. I mean, there's some people who are sick and they give them placebos. They know it doesn't work and they will die, but they get the placebo.
Thank you, good Christian society.
So the whole idea is that all of that goes with it, we have to fully understand. So we just don't know, but it's apples and oranges, and the ultimate energy is informational energetic fields. It's the occulton which creates all matter in the universe, intermixing with psions that then form this energy from the occultons into physical matter, first starting with energetic and energy fields. This gets denser and denser. That's the reality of the universe. It's not really complicated. It's pretty much what any serious physicist will tell you how things work anyway. But we have to understand there's no miracle to electric or Hertzian energy fields. We've just stupidly spent our time in that. Tesla said if you want to find the secrets to the universe, go to the non-physical, the subtle. Look at energy. Look at fields. And he used the term frequency, not in the frequencies of Hertz, but frequencies of the universe. So the whole idea is that's what all the answers to everything are. Not looking at the solid and saying, well, what do we do with the solid? We have to look at the solid and say, what made the solid? What informational energetic fields created that particular type of physical matter? Very important. Anything else than that is a fool's errand, and the reason why we really are not getting any place now. Science, physics is dead. It's ran into a brick wall, and which goes up to the universe, and they can't get over around it or anything else. Science in general is dead. There's nothing new coming out, and what the gossip is of what they can do and not do never comes to fruition because of politics or lies. And a lot of it is lies. It doesn't do what people think it does, and they have nothing to show for it except basically making claims so they can get more money from investors, and it never works out. So it's the same old round and around circle of basically fraud. So thinking that there's something in it. On the other hand, as I said, having a box with just wires and dials on it is very low level. If you have a box like that, make sure you upgrade it to our new amplified add-ons. Very critical. That's going to double and triple the output. So very important that you have those add-ons if you have somebody else's boxes, or even if you have some of our very old boxes. If you just working it with a psychic, basically empowering it, and you have no advanced electronic subtle energy units connected to it, you are doing yourself a giant misservice for a small investment that will last you a lifetime. But if you're going to get the next level technology that Radionic Tech puts out, well, these are potent into themselves. But I'll tell you right now, even our non-electric main boxes feed into, quote, electric amplifiers and transmitters of a special type. And again, we're not using Hertzian energies. We're using the resonance that comes off of tube amplifiers and the resonant energies that come off of even transmitters. And we have changed them dramatically by what we put on the outside and our new energy plates that we put under them. All of this transmutes the energy there, a total exclusive of Radionic Tech only, and they cannot be copied. So the whole idea is these that are placed in there that now create a wireless system is the whole new reality that's being out there. So you got to know what you're talking about if you want to get success. If you're going to use these things as strictly a psychic tuner or concentrator, well, that works to a degree. But we find there's a huge amount of failures with psychic tuners. Some people, like the research done by Bankston, who claims he cures people all the time, just basically with concentrating on them and using a repetitive visualization, he claims to get amazing results. And of course, this is done without instrumentation that we're aware of. It seems to me if he used instrumentation, he'd be a lot more successful. That puts you in a particular dangerous category as a researcher. But we do know that those kind of projections work. So if you're going to say to me, well, I'm getting results, that's why you're getting results. Are those good results? Well, I don't think they're good results. If you're getting results now with a piece of junk machine, get yourself a real good one and amaze yourself. And make sure you're not using a toxic piece of sewer trash produced by other people. So it's just not they don't function well. They're loaded with evil energies. Oh, I love to wake up to, let's have a cup of coffee and tune the demon machine. So the whole idea is that watch your body waste away with cancer. It's wonderful. So the whole idea is that we have to understand that. So don't get caught up in the miracle of electricity that it's somehow doing something magical. No, it heats heating coils in your toaster. Because the electricity activates the heating coil. Does everybody get that? The electricity turns the motor in your dishwasher. It turns the compressor in your refrigerator. Refrigeration doesn't come from a Hertzian energy field that is shot into your refrigerator. No, it's powering other things, and that's the miracle of electricity. But electricity in itself is just a dumb energy used to power something else through pretty intricate circuitries that we have right now. If you look at the average circuit board, even for something pretty simple, it's relatively complicated. You've got a lot of resistors, you've got some capacitors, you've got other things in there. So there's quite a bit going on there that has nothing to do with electricity per se. Electricity goes through these things, is powered, is manipulated, and then ultimately manipulates something that does things, like the compressor that cools your refrigerator. So it is not something direct. It's not the fact that you would take a refrigerator and that you would put a bottle in there to cool it and you don't turn it on because the electricity is going to do it. Or let's say you disconnect the compressor that makes the cold air.
I put it in the refrigerator. It's on. Look at it. I open the door. The light comes on, Doc. Look at that. It's amazing.
Okay, let's check back in a few hours.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay.
Well, Dr. Thor, it didn't get cold. I don't understand it. The electricity didn't do nothing.
Well, that's right, dumb guy. Now you've learned your first lesson. It's not the electricity, it's the compressor that electricity does. So you can pump any Hertzian field you want into that bottle. It ain't gonna cool it. It don't work like that, dumb guy.
Well, just blows me away, dog.
So the whole idea is that when we get all to those things going, we need to fully understand the reality of what's going on. So don't get caught up in that, but don't get caught up in the same old nonsense out there as well. If you're going to use non-electric dumb units that are just wires and pots, you don't need that. You get a symbolic box and you have a fantastic manifesting tool that has been amplified. Or get yourself an energy cell like I produce with your custom empowerment code on it, where all the energies that you produce into that particular cell go to you directly. So the whole idea is you have to understand the technology there and not get caught up into it. And so if you want good, pure stuff, you do the basic stuff where you don't have to do tuning or anything else. You want to get into tuning and other things, and we're coming out with advanced tuners and so forth, make sure there's something in there. And we're going to show you exactly what is in our particular units. We're not going to hide anything of showing you what the guts of our tools are. And of course, the bottom line is that we have proprietary technologies. You'll see something similar to what would be called a memory or electronic chip, and you can't figure out what's on that chip, and you never will. So the point is you'll see chips in there that make these units work, but they will not empower the units. That you will not be able to copy that, as everything that radionic tech does is uncopyable, because we build in all these things into our sigils, into our boxes. They are not just the beautiful tech they are. There's so much in there that it is impossible to copy, and only I know what's in there. And you're not going to be able to photograph it, copy it, take it apart, and figure out what's in there because it's energy. And the energy is produced in a particular fashion that only I know how to do. So that's the reality of buying from organizations that know what they're doing. And secondly, you're not going to get this from anybody else. So if somebody wants to sell you some junk at cheaper or higher prices, well, buyer beware. This is a horrible market with horrible people in it that are complete and totally untrained and know nothing of what they're doing. They're not skilled. They haven't taken courses. They know nothing. So if you want to work with people like that, do it at your own peril. So I hope that's been clarified to everybody. I hope the mystery of electric I hope that is figured that out. So there is no mystery of electricity. Electricity doesn't do anything. Hertzian frequencies don't do anything per se. Now, if you put these into your physical body through some connection, well, there's going to be a frequency that goes through you. Now, what does that do? Does it help? Is it good? Is it bad? Well, I have no idea. We just don't know enough. There does seem to be something about using basically Rife frequency generators, and these have been around for years. You can buy regular ones on the market as well. There is something about putting frequencies through the body that seems to be good for you. There also doesn't seem to be any really noticeable results that this works that well. Hulda Clark, who wrote 2 giant books on the cure for all cancer, died at 72 or 3 from cancer. Her zappers didn't work. She even had a clinic where people went there for years in Mexico and apparently didn't cure anybody, and she couldn't even cure herself. Now, that doesn't take her belief system and trash it entirely, but she didn't get the full puzzle. And, I've got puzzles, real puzzles, in the past, and they're missing a couple of pieces. I put them together, and, I look at it and say, oh, damn, I can't keep it. There's a couple of pieces missing. It looks terrible. It is not the answer. So the whole idea is that we need to understand that this elusive, this interesting and fascinating Hertzian type fields, some are produced with noble gases and other. Well, what has it done? Well, we don't know. And because of the oppressed environment we're in, people can't state that. But the problem is, can you believe anybody? Do you believe doctors caught up in the medical mafia that tell you that this is the answer? Well, they have an axe to grind, a pretty serious one, and they'll be persecuted and their life will be ruined if they come out. We've seen this even with COVID. People that came out against that, what they did was they ruined their lives. They got fired and everything else. I mean, you spend your entire life to become it. It's a tough position to get into, and you spend your entire life and hundreds, if not millions of dollars learning this practice. You practice. Then you go and practice on me. Hey, let me practice on you. Pay me lots of money. I'm going to practice on you. So the whole idea is that this is part of the reality out there. So the whole idea is that the sad fact of it is that people are doctors and they're greedy, corrupt scumbuckets. So let's change over to the alternative. Oh, they're pure and wonderful, man. They just come from this Tibetan sunlight and they just want to help humanity. Yeah, buddy, I'll help you with the pure pretend. You got $5,000 and you ain't going to get it from your insurance company. You have to pay me direct. So they're all like that. They're all crooks, they're liars, and they're all trying to make lots of money. So the whole idea is that they corrupt themselves. Should we believe what they tell us? Should we believe that? I remember walking out of a chiropractor who wanted to sell me, $200 worth of supplements because he knew damn well I wouldn't be back. And of course, I've never gotten any good results from chiropractors. Not that I'm against them, but the whole idea is they're pushing alternative stuff at a pretty high price. So the whole idea is that I don't trust them or other people. I've talked about this before. I think it was Special K. We're scientists. Look at me in my white robe here. We use this K crap and it cures everybody. Oh, yeah, aren't they wonderful? And they played a little film, Didn't Do Bogus, at $30, $40 a bottle back in the 70s, or I should say the 90s. So it's a big ripoff. And of course, you're the first guy ever brought us back one of these bottles. Yeah, because I'm the only guy that has credibility and guts, and I'm not going to get taken by this crap that you are pushing this garbage, because that's what you're pushing, garbage, based in nothing. And then you get some stupid,
I used to poo in my pants twice a day. Now I only poo in my pants once a day. It's miraculous.
So the whole idea is that then you get idiots that buy into that. So the problem is you'll get all the frauds who will march up those people they've either paid, threatened, convinced to, or just delusional people that maybe weren't sick at all or used the placebo effect while drinking that scum water and actually claim to have gotten results from it. We just don't know. So who do you believe? Well, there's only one person to believe, and that's a person who has reached the level of gnosis, which hopefully is you, or at least that you're intelligent enough and listen to the facts. The bottom line is either it works for you or not. And if it worked for you because of the placebo effect, well, more power to you. I don't have a problem with that. I'm down with it, dude. The way I roll, man, is does it work? And does it work for you? If it works for 10 other people and it doesn't work for you, who cares? I don't care. It's like, oh, that bottle of stuff was what? Well, it didn't do nothing for me. So I could have used that money to buy a bottle of Jack, and I would have felt a lot better after a couple of shots of Jack and a couple of shots of that crap. So the whole idea is that this is the reality. So you can't believe anybody. There's two sides of the fence, and guess what? What it just brings them all together? It's a perfect synergy of love and feasting, and it's all really made up on the buck. The wallet, because they don't have any credibility and they'll sell you whatever it is so they can meet their payments whether it works or not and lie to you just like doctors do. So there's no difference here. You're not going to get anything credible from the alternative people either. And they're teaching alternative because that's where the money is. And there's too many other people on the other side. So we all have to look at that and understand the facts of the situation, that nobody is giving a damn. Nobody is seeking truth. Nobody is seeking the higher level. They're seeking gold-plated toilets and $100,000 cars and houses on the beach. They're not just seeking to get by. That's not good enough. You own yourself a little minivan or a nice little house anywhere. No, you've got to have opulence at the price of truth and credibility and gnosis. You're a liar. And you're lying to people and taking their money like the prosperity ministers. Pay me $50 million. I need a plane. While these people live in huts in Appalachia, living on $20 a week and giving these scum buckets money. These people should be put in prison. They're con artists. So the whole idea, if there were no money, you'd find all these people gone. So the whole idea is that's the reality that is out there that we need to face. And you're not going to get truth from alternative people either. They are not involved in truth. They are not radionists. Are they a member of the radionic temple? Are they do they have any credibility or any honor or anything they care about other than the buckaroos? No. And that's the reality of it. They think they know something and they sell garbage. I've seen this time and time again. So buyer beware and know who you're buying from. Know their reality. Know their jive. Know what their backgrounds are. Know what they're doing. What are they building? What do their tools look like? What do they look inside? Are they using quality components? Where is that electric going? To the light on the machine?
Ooh, high-techy door. Light trigger.
You know, where is it? I mean, people who idolizes Elon Blofeld Musk. This guy has a degree in economics and a minor in physics. What does he know about anything? Oh, he can build rockets then. He knows engineering?
I know more about building than the guy who works in his garage and makes crap.
What the hell is he? He has no background whatsoever. He hasn't been in that industry for years. He knows absolutely nothing. Economics has nothing to do with business whatsoever. It's not even business management. Yet people give him billions of dollars to run a business when he knows nothing. He has absolutely no background whatsoever. He knows nothing about engineering or anything else. And of course, everything he's ever done, he's stolen from other people. But you give him credit, right? Well, this is complete and total nonsense. So all of us need to be in tune with this. Know your person. Of course, people will hide things. How do you know? Well, you know, Carl Welz didn't hide his Satanism all that well. He didn't stand on a street corner and scream, "I'm a Satanist." But the point is he was also involved with very nefarious and, as I allege, criminals, as his partner is doing today. So the whole idea is that Wake up a little. What are they selling? What is it doing? So they have all this hype. And where did all this money come to hype everything and to build that cheap junk that was first built in Romania by criminals of Europe and then built in Bulgaria by the other criminal capital of Europe? And of course, guess who was connected to all these? The criminal that he was connected to with all this. It's not too hard to figure all that out. The pieces connect together very easily, but everybody hide their head believing the outrageousness told by those people who perpetrated lies on the community by telling them that these machines did something when they die young. It's a great empowerment. It makes you strong. These muscle guys, these karate. Is that right? They didn't do nothing because of that. And we can prove that by the inventor who built garbage that was toxic, as we all know that these things are, and the long list of people that died from using that technology. So you have to be careful. How many more hand grenades are being sold to the public right now? Well, I can tell you there's quite a bit out there, because there's quite a bit of these machines that are still being produced today by hardcore evil Satanists. And of course, they are not only that, these hardcore evil Satanists are even connected to the U.S. military, particularly the Navy. So aren't you happy? But does that surprise us with the great victorious American Army would be using impotent crap technology built by stooges with boxes from Michaels? Is that surprising? Yeah, unbelievable. This is the kind of garbage you get out from these people that are nothing more than low-life Satanists that have the nerve to be further connected. Well, I guess we can figure out why the U.S. Army hasn't won a war, period, ever. So it's unbelievable. The British left in 1776, and of course, then Americans attacked Canada.
We lost to the Canadians. There was at least 10 of them, and they had 3 guns. We had to surrender. We're Americans.
So the whole idea is that that's the kind of things that you get from the ridiculousness out there. These stooges are making stuff and selling it to you as well. Be aware. You understand that this is happening out there, and if you're a sucker enough to get caught with that, well, you must be born under the sign of the toilet bowl, because you are getting poo poured on your head, and you are willingly do it. So be careful out there. These people are pretty easily find out. Maybe you should write to those people that you want to buy stuff to and ask them if they're a Satanist. Ask them who they're connected to, because they're right on YouTube, right next to the Satanists, the psychopaths, the nut jobs. They're all right there. They're all talking about it. So why don't you get that? Maybe you can go to Josh Warren's site and watch his wish machine garbage that is being made with my box in the background that he bought from me 30 years ago. So the whole idea is that, yeah, we know where the ideas and where the real designs came from. Jossie boy. He's another guy who's allegedly hooked up to all sorts of criminal people. And of course, it's just crap he builds with his buddy there. So the whole idea is that we have all these things we need to wake up to, and we need to know what's going on. And you have to be buyer beware. Who are these people? What do they believe in? Well, Radionic Tech is pretty much an open book. You can go to our site, see what we're into, see what we're against, see what we're involved with, and the point is it's all there for you. You got a question? You worry about something? You don't like it? Well, I answer all emails, and I communicate with just about anybody who has a brain, who isn't looking to just start fights because they're part of the criminal opposition. I communicate with everybody. And it's as simple as that. So you can ask questions, and we are more than happy to answer anything. And our machines and what we build are an open book. We will show you what's inside of them. We will tell you how it works, and you will know it from there. But of course, there's proprietary parts in there that cannot be copied. But you'll get it. You'll see what it is. You'll see the kind of workmanship we do, the quality we put into everything, and you'll be one of those who can actually access it. Get it. Get the best stuff. These are lifetime tools. Our units are modular based. So if something good comes you'll be able to just add it on. You won't have to buy another unit. You want 50 dials? Well, we have custom work that we can do, and you can put 50 dials on there. It's as simple as that. So all of that is there. All of that is part of the process that can be done here. Unlike other people who will just sell you down the trail, and of course, they got their little cookies, their little toys, their little rewards from Satan by bringing in people like you, torturing them, making them sick, and having them fail. That's what they bring you, and you will get that and that reality from it. So it's sad that you have to be in that. It used to be the fact that just delusional people made crap, and there's a lot of that out there as well. And you have to be careful. What is their agenda? What kind of lies are they telling you? So you have to be careful. They want to fill their pockets, and it's unfortunate that life is so based on money. But you don't have to make millions of dollars a year. You have to establish yourself a little bit of security and a little bit of comfort. You don't need to have gold-plated poopers. You just don't need to have that. You don't need a $150,000 car. Give that money to somebody who needs it. Produce better technology. Hire people that can develop things better. So that's not what people do. And it's people, and there are no good people. Everybody is bad. It doesn't matter who they are. And labeling anybody, people, religions, races bad is ignorant stupidity. They're all bad. They're all suck. They're all evil because they're humans. There are a few good people from every walks of life that are good people. And in the end, the good people are those people who support the light and who are doing things. The people that stand up and stand behind other ones to fight the darkness of this life, the disease, the evil, the corruption. Those are the people out there. And those people are never supported. They are murdered, imprisoned, and destroyed. And that's because the average Joe does nothing. Until next time.